I do. We have a beautiful, almost 11-year-old black Labrador called Violet, and she is just so gentle and lovely. She's not a guard dog at all. She loves my husband so much that if he goes out, rather than come to me, she just sits at the door and cries. But she's lovely, gentle, beautiful. So I don't think there's a normal day in the life of a Member of Parliament. It's an amazing role. I feel incredibly privileged to do it and to represent our community. In terms of what that looks like day to day, it can be very, very varied. So it can go from talking with individual members of the community to being at all sorts of local community events, whether that's sports, surf lifesaving. And then of course, we spend our time in Parliament, and being in Parliament is all about bringing your community's voice to the debate about issues impacting our state. I am a shadow minister for various things, so I am always meeting with various community groups, organisations, businesses to understand particular issues in the portfolios that I have as a shadow minister, and working together to see how we can raise particular issues, make sure that legislation works for them, make sure that policy works for them, take up things together in a community sense, but also in the media when things aren't okay. So that's another part of the job, is liaising with media, bringing things to the media's attention. So it's very, very broad. It's wonderful. You are always with so many different people, and I just absolutely love that. Yeah. In year 12, it was the very, very first year that one of our teachers decided to set up a women's or a girls' football team, and I was the ruck in the football team, and it was just fantastic. It was something that had never happened at our school before, and it was just this opportunity for all of the girls and young women who participated to really be seen as strong and participating and right there on the field and being physical, and it was just fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant. I think I've been thinking about this question a lot because I think that we all have our own journey to walk, and I'm an example of that. I didn't do particularly well in year 12 academically. I had a great time in other ways, but I didn't do particularly well. And I think it's really important that we all recognise that learning is lifelong, and that whatever journey we take, that we learn from those experiences, from what happens to us, from the choices that we make, and that we learn always. So I think it's really important to remember that it's not just 1 year, it's the whole journey that's important, and you take as many lessons as you can from everything that you do. That's a great question. I think I've had to get better at that. I'm not that good at, I haven't in the past been that good at that, because I feel things very deeply, and I take things on, and I worry about people, and I worry about situations in the community. So it's hard when, it's not like I have this neat life where I do this job and then I go home and I shut off. Like, I am who I am, and I love what I do, and it's just all part of me being active and taking things up and being active in our community. So there's not some neat separation. So I've had to find things in amongst all of that, just that work for me to not be stressed and anxious, etc. Probably the most important thing is just having the moments, the time with the people that are really close to me, the people that I love, and the people that I absolutely trust, and can just have those moments where I can completely say whatever I need to say, and just debrief, but just be. I think about this question a lot, and I think that leadership is both deeply personal and inherently collective. And when I say deeply personal, all of us have to make a very deep personal decision to speak up about something, to speak out about something, to challenge or to promote change, to lead on a particular issue. However, I say it's also inherently collective, because I think that the best leadership is leadership that actually brings people together around a common cause. And also, as part of that view that it's inherently collective, I think the absolutely most important thing about leadership to me is empowering other people's leadership. And that goes right back to what I was speaking about before. If, as well as speaking up yourself for change, if you can actually empower other people's voices and grow their collective voice as a leader, I think that's the most important thing, and that is transformative for our communities, for our state, for our world, if we can actually bring people together around change. I think everybody makes mistakes, everybody fails at particular things. I think all of the mistakes, anything that's perceived as failure, as long as you can learn from that, as long as you can understand perhaps why things didn't go a particular way, and think about other choices or different things or different environments for your next challenge, I think that's just part of learning. As I said to you just before we started, my journey isn't neat. There's been lots of struggles and lots of things that have happened, and it hasn't been this sort of straight journey. And I think that some of that passion I have to make change and to really include people and really empathise with people and bring them together and make sure everyone's included does come from understanding at a very deep level that nothing is ever perfect. It's always, things are very complex for lots of people, and we need to just, embrace the mistakes and the failures and keep going, and yeah. Yeah, so we've gone through it I've gone through it with my son and my stepson, our two boys, and in a very general sense, one I was worried was far too relaxed about it all, and the other one I was worried was far too stressed by it all. It's a really hard year, I think, for the whole family. And I think as a parent, you just have to, first of all, just breathe, take a very deep breath sometimes. But trust your children, just trust them. I think that when COVID started, we were becoming more and more disconnected in some ways. We were relying much more on technology, which obviously is a fantastic thing, but we were not necessarily reaching out in particular ways. And then all of a sudden when COVID started, people were craving connection. And the reason I say all of that in response to your question is I think that there are some difficult times ahead, but our world is crying out for people to make change, to shape our conversations that we're having, to shape the future. And so I would say to Year 12s, you are absolutely integral to that future. You're integral to those conversations. There is this opportunity to reshape our state and how we connect with one another. Yes, I absolutely hear it's very, very difficult, and there are difficult times ahead, but please hold on to your dreams for the future. You will get there. Also, please help to shape that future. Hello, I'm Katrine Hildyard, the Labor member for Raynell in our beautiful southern community. To the class of 2020, you got this.